Hey, it's a sunny November day down here in the ATL. So I'm sure you guys have seen my videos by now. Part one talking about the reason why I moved down here 14 months ago to help take care of my mother. The part two series, I was talking about the weather, the sunny weather, leaving Detroit in that cold weather and coming to the ATL. And I talked about business, dropped a few nuggets about business. Becoming an Uber driver, the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Super Bowl. So now, this part three series is about the traffic down here and housing and apartments. So you guys know, anybody who's been down here to the ATL long enough to know the traffic down here is horrible. That's one of the drawbacks about living down here in the ATL. And a lot of people have asked me, when's the best time to drive around the ATL? You know what the best time to drive is? Around 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning when people are supposed to be going to church. You can get through traffic pretty good at around 7 a.m. on a Sunday. Or at around 2 a.m. in the morning when not a lot of people is out. You can drive through downtown, you can move around at around 2 a.m. But I noticed down here a lot of times the reason the traffic is so backed up is because anytime it's a small fender bender, somebody's changing their tire, or the police has pulled someone over, everybody's hitting brakes, they're stopping, they're gawking, and that backs traffic up for miles and miles, which takes maybe, where it would take you maybe 45 minutes to an hour to get somewhere, it may take you 2 to 3 hours due to people just stopping, looking. Now that's the thing, like in New York and places in New York has busy and crazy traffic as well, but they keep it moving. So down here the traffic is crazy. And I know also driving on the back roads and even sometime on the freeway at night, people are so disrespectful riding with their bright lights on. That's so crazy. When you're approaching an oncoming car, you should hit your lights back and dim them down. Instead, people just drive like the norm with their bright lights on. Now, you know, coming from Detroit, you cannot face an oncoming car with your bright lights on like that. That's disrespectful. That person would be on the 6 o'clock news if they're driving behind the person or approaching somebody with their bright lights on. So Atlanta, you guys got to work on that. And bright lights, driving, facing people on oncoming traffic and driving behind them, not a good deal. So please be careful, dim your lights when you're approaching oncoming traffic. So and one of the reasons why the traffic is crazy down here as well, because they're building all over. There's subdivisions going up, there's new apartment buildings going up. They're building all over Hampton, Georgia, new subdivisions around Atlanta. This is a subdivision that we're filming in right now. They've already completed that phase of houses over there. This is the third phase, and they're gonna have houses all back through there. So you may drive by an area and you will see a bunch of trees up, and then you'll drive by a couple of weeks later and those trees are chopped down. They're about to start developing houses. So in Hampton, Georgia, Stockbridge, all across Atlanta, subdivisions are still popping up, and they've been working on those subdivisions for a while. And I guess it's booming again because they're starting to pop up more and more. New apartment buildings are popping up around Atlanta, on the outskirts of Atlanta, and in the city. And a lot of people ask me, well, what's the housing in Atlanta? What's the cost? Now, of course, the cost is going to depend on, first of all, your credit. And second of all, it's going to depend on what are you willing to pay and what you can afford to pay. So just based on my experience, the houses here in Atlanta, you can get a nice house in a subdivision, depending on your credit, depending on the square footage, for about $1,200 a month. And that's going to go up from there. And then apartments, depending where you want to live at, and this is just based on my experience, is going to be about $1,000 to live in a nice area where nobody's bothering your car, nobody's bothering you. And that's going to shoot up from $1,000 depending on where you're living at in Atlanta on the outskirts, or if you live in downtown or in Buckhead, those apartments are going to be $1,200, $1,500 to $2,000 easy for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment, because so many people are moving to Atlanta. They're just raising the prices up. Now you can still get a house living in a subdivision with a little bit of land at a good price, and that's going to be great for people that's coming from New York, Chicago, and different cities. They're going to love that because they feeling like, man, I didn't get all this house when I lived in the city. I'd be paying $2,000 or $3,000 mortgage, but you can pay $1,200 to $1,500 down here if you don't mind living in a subdivision. And keep in mind, there's nothing wrong living in a subdivision. I've lived in subdivisions, nothing wrong with that. I just prefer living in a house by itself where I have my own privacy. I can park my cars in the back. I can build a detached garage in the back of that house and park my cars back there. And like I mentioned, it's just kind of like population control when you live in a subdivision, that you have to go by different ordinance and they keep tabs on different things that you do in that subdivision. And I keep a clean house, clean yard, so it's not like I'm going to have 4 or 5 cars in my yard with oil stains and working on cars out like that. But if I live away from a subdivision in my own yard, away from a subdivision by itself, I can do what I want to. So that's what I prefer. But housing in Atlanta is definitely going up. The population, I think they said like 20,000 people a month coming to Atlanta. And the thing about that, they're building more houses, more subdivisions, more apartment buildings and so forth, but they're not building any more highways. So that's why traffic is so tight as well. Traffic is so crazy down here, and I can't stress that enough. But you just got to decide whether you're moving to Atlanta or whatever city. You just got to decide what's important to you. Does traffic bother you? Traffic's not going to bother me because I'm going to still do business. I'm going to still take care of what I got to take care of, no matter the traffic. How's the weather? I dealt with bad weather, cold weather in Michigan for years and years. I'm just glad I got away from it because I'm getting older now. My bones, I feel that cold weather. So coming down here to a little better weather here in November on a sunny day like this in November, a few days from Thanksgiving, I'm loving that. So definitely those are just some of the things that you got to think about when you decide to make the move. If you decide to make the move, I'm the type of person, I believe in taking chances. I believe in taking risks. I'm never going to be that type of person that's just going to stay in that little box, whether it's a job, whether it's living in a certain state. If I want to move, I want to make a move, I'm going to do that. Right now, I don't plan on going anywhere because the main reason I'm here in Atlanta is to help take care of my mother, and I will do that till the end, wherever. So I'm here in Atlanta, and I actually like it down here, like I mentioned, for business, the relationships and things of that nature. So I'm loving that. Also, I want to touch on, the relationships down here in Atlanta. I've built some great relationships, and whether it's in business, a job, or whatever, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Now down here in Atlanta, just like anywhere else, when you're doing business outside of working a job, you may have to pay a little something to get something done, and that's just part of business, as long as it's legal, So you may have to do that, but business down here, I can't say it enough. I enjoy doing business. It's like I said, not what you know, it's who you know. So I'm gonna touch on that a little more in my next video. I really want to touch on the relationships down here. A lot of successful black women down here, black men down here, but I gotta stress more with the women, because the ratio down here in Atlanta is 13 to 1. 13 women to 1 man. 13 women to 1 man, and these women are professional women. They have good jobs, they have great businesses, and they're not just going to settle for anything. And I've spoke with them, some at church, some at the gym, some at the colleges, some at networking events, restaurants, and they told me, it's kind of hard to find a good man in certain areas down here because the ratio is so many women. So many women outnumber men down here. And I'm going to touch on that in my next video, but I really just wanted to touch mainly on the housing down here, some of the cost of living down here, the traffic down here. So you guys stay tuned for the last video that I'll be showing, and that'll be touching on relationships, men, women. I'm an alpha male, strong and dominant. That's what I believe in, and I believe relationships should be between a man and a woman. And I'll touch on that in my part 4 of my video. So you guys take care, enjoy your day. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos and me just opening up and sharing some of my stay down here the last 14 months of living in the ATL. So you guys take care. Talk to you next time.